Hey, so today let's talk about different mindsets that are going to propel you towards your goals or cause crippling insecurities and crippling paralysis that will stop you from ever even lifting off. So the first thing, right? I wrote this because I've had a couple of students who are new to my mentorship program just kind of, have a lot of like fears and just apprehensions towards really launching their business. And that's always something that I struggle with in different kinds of ways, right? Because like there was a lot of fears when I was getting started. It's like, number one, could I actually do it? Number two, I didn't have a million years of experience, so like would business owners actually want to work with me? Then number three, it's like, could I actually like start a successful business? Because I've tried to start successful businesses in the past and they've like failed. Like I tried e-commerce, I tried a little bit of like personal training, I tried doing website design, I tried doing like eBay, Amazon, FBA. I tried a lot of different business models in the past, and like just like no real success with those models. So I even tried like stock trading too, right? And it was just like those kind of thoughts of maybe there's something that I'm just not good at business, and maybe I just can't do business correctly. Like I see other people doing it. Maybe they're just better. Maybe they're just born with like the business gene. I just don't have this business gene, or else something would have taken off for me by now, right? But I really had to overcome a lot of those things in order to be, a decade later, still in business, still doing multiple six figures per year, and growing towards, my financial goals and my financial dreams, right? So, number one, always think about what you want, not what you don't want, or the distance from what you want. So, what that means is a lot of people, when they have not fully trained their mindset, kind of either activities or their mindset daily practice, most time the fear is kind of taking over, and all you think about is like what you don't want. And like some people have what's called rumination. That means to just focus and focus and focus. But if you're ruminating on something positive, you're going to get more positive stuff in your life. If you're ruminating on stuff that's negative, you're just either going to stay the same or kind of trend downwards, right? Because it's just like, if you're not constantly improving your situation, you're going to be moving downwards, because the world just life is constantly, generally like with us, we kind of decay, right? So your body gets older, everything gets older, your bills get higher, inflation gets, higher, XYZ, right? Housing prices go up, right? So if you're not constantly moving forward, you're kind of being pulled backwards just by life. So you always need to be focused on positive. So one thing I like doing is, whenever I was getting started, I would have like a journal, like actually like a physical journal, probably like about this tall, right? This tall, just a really mini one, and I would write off 14 different things to 15 different things that I either didn't like about myself or that I was kind of fearing that I couldn't do, and I would just write the positive, like the reversing it. So for example, let's say that I did not like confrontation in sales, right? Because like sometimes when you're talking to a business owner and you say like the cleanup's like $13,000, right? They sometimes have a heart attack and they get really either angry, upset, or fearful, or like, yeah. So I didn't like that confrontation, because then they would always say like my price is too high, and I would be like, oh, well, it's not that high, and it would turn kind of into an argument, right? So I had to turn that around and just say, my sales calls are effortless, right? Or my consultation calls end without a fight, or I'm okay with confrontation as long as it's going for the right direction, right? So it's like, or I didn't like doing marketing stuff because I didn't like putting myself out there, right? So then it was just like, I love doing the work. I love putting myself out there. I love going and growing my brand online, right? And it was funny because like when I first got started, I didn't even like doing like live videos. Like I've done a live video on Facebook almost every single week for the past since 2021, right? But when I first got started, I didn't like doing it, right? So I had to write it down that I love doing live videos, right? And basically what I do, because I was just thinking the other day, I was like, with my YouTube channel, right? I'm putting out probably about 3 to 5 videos a week on my YouTube channel. Generally, I think it's trending more towards 3, because that's just a very easy schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, so it's just super, super easy and super, I can probably do that for like forever, right? But it was just like, no matter if my audience grew, or if I made a single dollar from YouTube, or if I got ad revenue or whatever, it's like, it doesn't even matter. It's so interesting and just so much fun, because just like, I don't care if I ever make a single dollar from this. I don't care if anyone even watches these videos. But I know that if one person does watch the video, it's like a great thing for them. They can get some boost. And if not, at least what I can do is, 10, 15 years from now, I can go back and look back at these videos and just be like, oh man, that was actually pretty cool. That's what I was thinking about, right? And then just have like a historical kind of database to me. But sorry, digress. Kind of got into a tangent there. But that's a really main important thing. Focus on what you want. Only talk about like the good things. If there's something you don't like about yourself, like maybe let's say that you get afraid whenever a business owner asks you, a bookkeeping question. I would just probably turn that around and say, I thrive at the opportunity to learn more about bookkeeping when I'm asked a question. Right? That way, when someone starts asking you questions, you're actually going to like it, because even if you don't know the answer, you can tell them, hey, I'm going to go learn this answer and get back to you, Or I don't quite know this answer, but let me go ask around. I can go get this answer for you, right? And it gives you an opportunity to kind of learn. So rather than being like a negative thing or a scary thing, like you're going to get fired by your client, it's more of, hey, I can go look at it. Like, think about it. Like, a lot of times what happens is, if you're, okay, so let's say, for example, you're a CPA, and someone has like a really complex tax issue. Unless you have that tax code book in your pocket, or you've learned how to memorize the entire thing for this current year, you're going to have to go back and review, right? So half the battle is taking information and telling them, hey, I don't know every single thing because this book is like this big, right? Let me go back, let me do some research for you. And if they're at the highest level of accounting and bookkeeping, okay with saying something like that to their client, why not you, as someone who's just getting started in this industry, why can't you feel confident? Just say, hey, there's a lot of stuff I have to go look at. Let me go and get back to you, right? The only difference is CPAs and people doing tax strategy understand that's part of the game. Bookkeepers and accountants, right, they feel like they want to know everything before they ever get started. And that's just not very conducive to you having a successful business. Or just finding success in general in life, right? Because no one knows everything. You're always improving. Like, I'm still learning stuff about marketing. I'm learning a lot of stuff about marketing. I'm learning stuff about sales every single day. And that's part of the fun. That's part of the journey, Now, next thing is this thing called imposter syndrome. Okay? So, a lot of people, for those who don't know, imposter syndrome really wasn't that big of a term back in 2018, 2017, 2016. It wasn't until there's a lot more like online people who were just kind of like either doing groups or kind of like assembling together that they were, coming up with labels for people to get them to want to buy like courses, products, or services, right? Because if someone can kind of label you, and you buy into that label, you're generally going to kind of do what they kind of classify as the activities you need to do in order to not have that label, right? So, imposter syndrome, like, don't let people put false labels on you, right? Most people before the internet, like, they never even heard of imposter syndrome. Like, I know, I for certain didn't even know that. Like, there's certain terms on the internet, like, don't be salesy, imposter syndrome, don't message people. Like, there's so many different, like, little, like, weird labels and things that are, like, online, or like the income ceiling, right? There was this thing online probably back in 2020 that a lot of life coaches were pushing, where it's like, there's this, like, income ceiling that's above your head. So if you've never made more than this amount of money, you can't make more than that amount of money. And, like, at first, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't make more than a certain amount of money. And then I was just like, wait, but there are people who are like billionaires, or people who are even like multimillionaires who started from scratch. So it's like, there can't be this like ceiling that's over you. And then after I kind of got out of that, I was like, oh, so then my income just started growing and growing and growing. And it wasn't that there was like this income ceiling that was over me. It was just the number of people who I was talking to who knew I existed just was so small that I had no one to really like work with, right? So as soon as I started expanding that, I started talking to the right business owners, then I was able to go get better quality cleanups, I was able to get better quality clients, and even then when I started doing my mentorship program, it was the same exact thing. Just more people gets more cash and more clients, right? So again, don't let people put false labels on you. Now, imposter syndrome at its core, a lot of people have a misunderstanding and misinterpretation of what imposter syndrome is. It's not that you have this like irrational fear of like answering questions from business owners, or that business owners are going to see that you're new to the industry, or business owners are not going to respect your skill set, right? That's not really what imposter syndrome is. Excuse me one second. Sorry, if you haven't noticed, I'm very sick right now. I have like a cold of some sort. But that's what we're saying. It's not like a lot of people think it's like this external thing, right? Where it's like, I feel like I just can't move forward. I can't do this because XYZ is going to look down on me, or something is going to happen. I just can't do it, right? But really what imposter syndrome is just more of just a lack of live practice, right? It's a lack of competence in the area, and it's a lack of experience doing the actual task on a real thing, right? So it's not like you just go and study for years and years and years and the imposter syndrome just goes away. The only way that imposter syndrome and its kind of term goes away is by you actually trying to do the thing on the real in-game experience, right? So let's say that your child is trying to learn like soccer, right? If they're just playing inside their front yard, of course soccer's going to get scary because now they're trying to do like different tricks and different things like that. When they get on the real goal or the real field, if they haven't been practicing in that real field, or they only have done one entire like soccer match in their entire life, of course it's scary. But as they do 10 soccer matches, 20 soccer matches, 30, 50, now it becomes more fun and just more enjoyable because now they're more experienced. The same thing with accounting and bookkeeping. Like the first client, it's going to be a little bit nerve-wracking. That's because maybe you never worked with a client before, right? But as you work with that client, the nerves are going to go away. And then as you start going in, same thing with consultation calls. Your first consultation call might be a little scary. Your first, time doing a post on LinkedIn or Facebook, that's going to be scary, right? But it's just like once you start doing it, it just becomes a part of who you are, right? So I would think of imposter syndrome is not necessarily like this thing that you have. It's just more of a lack of in-game experience that once you start getting the in-game experience, you just do it. Now, Bryce, how do I get in-game experience if I don't have any clients? A couple different ways. So number one, just go get some clients. That's number one, right? Just act as if you have clients. Talk to the clients as if they're already yours. Do the marketing skills. Do the sales skills. Yeah. Sorry, my camera lost some battery. So remember, fear is not a sign for you to stop. Okay? Fear means more about caution, right? So it's just more about like caution. Proceed with caution. That means do the stuff, but just do it very carefully when you're doing it, okay? Most people, like, especially if they're starting a business, and just in life in general, right? When they feel fear, they feel it as like a sign to avoid it completely, go the other direction, turn away. But it's just like, well, what if everything that you wanted was just on the other side of fear? It's just you had to learn how to go and see how far ahead you can go and how to do it and like what kind of speed, direction, momentum, and intentionality. Like, what do you have to do in order to kind of make it on the other side, right? And once you learn how to do that consistently, everything in life opens up to you, right? It's now in some cases like there's danger, right? That's different, right? But if it's just fear and you haven't actually seen if your fears are actually real, especially if we're talking about like stuff like accounting and booking, like a business, right? I'm not talking about like going through the Amazon, right? And you hear like a snake rattling like 10 feet away and you start walking towards the snake. I'm not saying that. This is business, right? It's just talking to people, doing some accounting work, making sure that you do a good job. If you don't know the answer, go and research it. Go learn how to do marketing. Go learn how to do sales. Go learn how to price your business. Like this is not something that's gonna kill you. Like you're not gonna like die. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's different. So it's just more about stuff that's in our head, but it's not necessarily stuff that's going to like kill us if we get it right or if we get it wrong, right? And I would almost think of fear and nerves more as like nerves. And the reason why is because like your body, especially if you ever like done like an athletic event, oftentimes before the event you get kind of nervous. Now beginner athletes, like they feel those nerves and they get kind of like just like oh I can't do this, oh my gosh, and they kind of shut down, right? But athletes are actually really good, right? And back to what I'm saying, like the beginner athletes, they actually try and like eliminate those nerves, right? They're just like, I just want to get to a point where I never feel nervous again. Versus athletes that are really good, they learn how to use that anxiety. They learn how to use those nerves, right? Because the body can't actually tell the difference between whether something is nervousness or excitement, right? It's just our minds that kind of tell us a story of what we're feeling. So if instead you kind of train your brain that anytime you feel nervous, oh, it's a good thing. That means it's go time because I can use this energy as extra fuel. You're going to be able to go and grow a lot faster, move stronger, move better. And that's why like a lot of the best ones just have this like extra gear that they have, because one, they use their first wind was through like anxiety and just nerves. And then the second one was just all their training kind of kicked in, right? So it's the same thing, okay? Next thing I would do is I would actually get out of Facebook groups for like bookkeepers and accountants. Like a lot of those groups, especially like the ones for beginners, just bring a lot of like fear mongering, right? Because they all ask questions that most people don't even think about, right? So if you just see like 100 questions every single day about like things you don't know about, you start thinking and doubting your skills, right? I've seen people who have been in the accounting field for 40 years go into some of these Facebook groups and just feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. Like, I don't know all these answers, right? And man, that's crazy, right? Get out of those groups. There's no real purpose. Like, you can be around like-minded people without being inside of a Facebook group of 40,000 people who all have like accounting questions. Okay, it's if you want answers to your accounting questions, go to ChatGPT. I'm just joking. Okay, but I'm just saying, go find like maybe 1 or 2 mentors that you can go and ask for help or for advice whenever you have like a major question. Ideally, you would pay them for their time so that they feel kind of obligated to answer your questions. Because I know a lot of times like what happens, like people like get like free mentors in the local area. I tried to do that. I tried to do that a couple times, right? But it's like, they kind of answer some questions and all is good like on day 1 or day 2, but it's like as soon as they get busy, they just kind of disappear. They don't answer your questions. So it's like, just pay someone to kind of like answer your questions. Like, I have that even right now. I have that with like sales, right? So I have this guy who I basically pay like, I think about like $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and basically he sits down with me every morning, just like reviews any consultation calls I ever had, right? And we just improve on my sales skills. So I can ask him any question anytime, and he's obligated to answer me because I'm paying him money. It's just like and since I'm paying him money, I don't have to mince my words and be super, super like nice, right? Because it's just like, hey man, I need to answer this thing. And if he tells me something I don't understand or I don't agree with, I tell him, hey, I don't understand what this means, man. And like, you know, I don't have to be like, oh, hey, can you please explain this in a slightly different way? It's like, no, dude, I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means differently. And yeah, it's just easier experience, right? Now, the next thing, that brings us to the next point. Sharpen the right skills, okay? Drilling is for killing, okay? The skill sets you need in order to be successful in this business is not just the bookkeeping, monthly accounting, or even the CFO services. That is one aspect, but if you never get a client, what does it matter how good you are at bookkeeping? It's like if a tree falls in the forest, does it even make a sound? I personally believe it does, but does it really matter if no one saw it? Right? So it's the same thing with your skill sets. So the skill sets you need to be working on are your consultation process, right? Because if you have the right consultation process, the business owner isn't even going to be asking you a bunch of accounting and bookkeeping related questions. The only time people ask you questions about like your website, or can you do this bookkeeping thing, or you know, what is this thing, or this hidden thing about accounting and bookkeeping, is because they don't trust you, because your consultation process is too random. It doesn't feel like you know what you're doing, and it feels kind of like it's just random questions being asked by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So the business owner tries to go and piece together your level of skill set by asking you questions to see, okay, is this person like, should I weed this person out, or could this person potentially help me? So if you just come across as like you know what you're doing, you're taking the consultation in a desired path, you have a direction, you have a goal, you have an outcome that you're going to do, the business owner trusts you a lot more. They don't ask you stupid questions, right? They just want to work with you because they don't really care exactly who they work with to a certain degree. They just want to make sure that who they do choose to work with has a base level of skill set as well as a personality they can kind of get along with, and they can build together over time. That's all you need, right? The next skill set is going to be about like your marketing, right? So when I say marketing, think more about like virtual networking. So how to pick the right person to talk to, how to have that conversation, how to get them to open up about their pains, problems, their concerns, how to get them to admit they have like an accounting or bookkeeping need, and then how to make sure that by the time they get to the call, they fully understand what you do and how you can help them out. If you can do that, then have a really great consultation process, and then just learn how to price out the book. So basically what that means is just like scope out the work, right? So look at someone's books and know exactly how you can charge. Now, if you don't know how to do that, like we give people pricing calculators inside of our mentorship program, but it's just like, yeah, once you learn how to do that, it's just very simple, right? It's a very simple game, right? And since there's so many different business owners, there's 30.2 million business owners alone in the United States on LinkedIn, right? Like, you only need about 20 to get to about 6 figures. Like, maximum is 20, unless you just get a really good size one for like $5,000 a month for like your first client, right? Then you maybe only need about like 5, 10, right? But it's just like, you don't need that many. You just gotta get good at a couple of skill sets. And you don't even have to get good. Okay, I'm not even saying you have to get like good, like to a good level. You just have to be like functioning, right? If you just have a good sales script on your consultation call, and like I can give you a consultation script, right? We have different videos about sales on this channel. If you want the real one, you can join like the mentorship program, right? But if you just have a good script and you learn how to use that same script, you don't even have to get good at objection handling. Like a lot of our students, they get clients without even having objections, like without the person even saying like the price is too high, without even saying they have to wait for a month, or without even saying, it's just like if you just do the process, it takes care of a lot of those objections. You don't even have to say like any magic phrase at the end, right? So just get good at a small level, just get functional at a small level. Excuse me, I keep saying good, but just get functional, right? You just gotta get functional at messaging people and building relationships. You just gotta get functional at consultation calls. If you get functional, then you'll be good. I'm trying to be good. I'm not trying to be great, but I'm trying to be really good, right? So I have to like kind of step my game up, and I'm like learning all this stuff every single day. That's why I shoot these YouTube videos, to kind of reiterate what I'm learning and the different things that I'm doing with other students in my program, right? Because I'm trying to improve every single day. But for someone like yourself, maybe you're just trying to get to like 10 grand a month, or 15 or even 20 grand a month. Okay, just get at a good enough level, be functional, and allow time to kind of take its place. Now, if you don't know how to go and build those skill sets, you don't know how to do a consultation call correctly, you don't know how to price out your work, you don't know how to do marketing or even virtual networking to get the right people on the phone, you probably can keep doing it, trial and erroring it for another like 2-3 years, or you could just go and like join a mentorship program like ours, go get those skill sets, go get all this stuff so you can go and move forward with your business, and then never have to worry about this stuff again. If you want help growing your business, but like maybe it's just taking too long, or you don't have the skill sets and you don't have a good means to get these skill sets, go ahead and click on the link inside the description below to book a call with me to see if I can help you out. I cannot help everybody. Okay, you have to qualify, right? It's not just like one of those things where I can just like drop a link inside of the YouTube chat that has like a payment card for X amount of money, right? It's not like that. I have to accept you, because if I don't think I get you success, I don't want your money. Like there was this guy on Instagram yesterday who was like, "How much you charge, man?" Give me 1 second. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't just discuss pricing inside of like the DMs, because it's not about the price, right? Because like we have different options, we have different splits that you can do, we have different programs, we even have like free books you can get, right? But if I don't think I can help you out, I'm not taking any of your money, because I don't want you to like be on the internet talking about Bryce couldn't help me, right? Because I'm in this for the long haul. I'm trying to be in this game another 10 years, right? I might not make it 10 years because I might retire sooner, who knows? So I'll take advantage of this stuff while I'm still here. But, I'm here for the long haul, so I'm not just here to just grab money and just kind of like leave people in the wake or leave people in the dust. So if you want some help, you want someone who actually cares and is invested in your success, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, book a call with me, see if you qualify for this offer. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.